The Iowa caucuses.
Iowa caucuses.
Iowa caucuses.
What is his message to voters just ahead of the Iowa caucuses?
The starting gun for the past half-century to the U.S. presidential election is the Iowa caucus. But what exactly is it, and how does it help determine who the next president of the United States of America is? This is Decomplicated. What is a caucus? A political caucus is defined as any gathering of people with a shared interest or goal. Despite their importance, political caucuses are rarely given as much attention as a primary election. The term caucus originated in 18th century Boston in reference to a political club, later changing to define two distinct influential political organizations, party caucuses and legislative caucuses. Members of the public gather in caucuses to debate political topics and voice their concerns with specific issues. The Iowa caucuses are a series of local meetings held throughout the state at which participants conduct party business and typically indicate their preference for the presidential nominee their party will be placing on November's ballots.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's also the first step in a months-long process to select people to serve as delegates to the national party conventions in the summer. However, don't confuse a caucus for a primary. What's the difference? Primary elections are conducted like the U.S. elections, at polling booths held throughout the day and usually also with absentee and early voting. The Iowa caucuses, however, are held in the evening and voters must attend in person to take part.
Richard, look at this room! They should get behind him too!
With everyone there in person, it leads to a rather chaotic experience of trading and bartering. Caucuses are also run by political parties, whereas primaries are typically run by the state itself. So why the fuss over the Iowa caucus? Since it isn't a traditional election, a candidate's performance in the rural Midwest state is often viewed as a test of their campaign's organizational strength and ability to gather momentum in attracting voters. Why does Iowa go first? After violence disrupted their 1968 primary in Chicago, Democrats tried to make the primary process more democratic. That, combined with the Iowa legislature moving the caucuses earlier in the year, meant Democratic candidate George McGovern won headlines and campaign buzz for winning the Iowa caucus.
I accept your nomination with a full and grateful heart.
He went on to win the Democratic nomination, but lost against Richard Nixon in the general election. Does Iowa often predict the eventual winner? In what is pretty much a two-horse race for U.S. president, Iowa has a pretty poor record for picking the nominees. For proof, look at Donald Trump. In 2016, he came second, languishing behind evangelical Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Hey Ted, where did I support it?
Neither of Mr. Trump's two predecessors as Republican nominee won the state either. George W. Bush was the last non-incumbent Republican president to win both the state and the nomination in 2000.